Welcome to the studio of Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. We hope you've had purpose in your day and fulfillment, remembering that the experience of real success often requires radical self-care.
Yeah.
Today we welcome Cher Graham, a businesswoman of over 50 years. Cher uses her storytelling gifts of writing and speaking to coach and educate individuals and companies all over the world. She is the Executive Vice President of Behavioral Health Organizational Communications, OSBI Synergy Solutions Collaborative in Mobile, Alabama. She has created a methodology known as OAR, Observe, Assess, Rethink. She has guided, counseled, consulted, trained, educated, and served as mentor to thousands of companies throughout the global business community. Now, to her many accomplishments, she adds co-authorship in the soon-to-be-released anthology, Thankful and Blessed 365. Welcome, Cher.
Hey, Hi, everybody.
Hi, and welcome to the JMMB stage. Tell us a little bit about your company.
I am the Executive Vice President of Neurobehavior, and the company works with individuals, families, and businesses in helping them change crisis or chaos into calm. We do a number of things. We offer a number of services, I guess. We do independent mentoring and coaching, but I like to consult where I really get in with companies and from the ground up and Fortune 100 companies to help them understand the culture of communications in their organization. For us, communications is the way in which everything else works in a company. If you don't communicate correctly and you're not kind in communications or understanding of how communications works in the process, business halts. Yeah. And we have fun doing it. So my motto is, we love chaos.
Well, I'm sure a lot of companies need your services because, as you stated, communication is key.
It's very key, yes.
Nothing works well if you don't communicate.
No. And whether it's a small company, a person that has an idea, they want to go into business for themselves, sometimes they don't communicate with themselves, and their own self-talk is not logical or rational, and they just think that becoming an entrepreneur, owning your own business, is the way to Mecca and self-fulfillment, when in reality, it isn't. You can create your own chaos and self-destruction if you're not taking into account that you need to know what you're doing in order to get there. So with the small business owners we work with, and sometimes they forget that every Fortune 10 company was a small business at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we can do ourselves more harm and create our own chaos and can't figure out why we are where we are.
Amen.
I think that's why I put into today's opening about radical self-care, because people seem to think that success is all about push, 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 and what I can get, and growing and growing. And if you don't take care of self, you are going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I have one of the presentations I give, because I do a lot of training and have over the years, has a woman in a swamp with all these things added up, and she's on the top, and that's where you end up. You end up on the top with everything compounded up under you as an alligator and a crocodile and all of the things that you find in a swamp, and then can't figure out how you get down from the top or bail yourself out through the mucky water of the swamp. So yeah, we do that. And I think over the years, I sometimes wonder why other people don't listen, but what I've learned is we all have to walk through the swamp in order to become successful. Mm-hmm. They just, there are a lot of people who don't want to listen to, others. You guys have been in business a long time, and, we all find people who say, yeah, that's okay. And then they walk out of your meeting or a workshop and turn right around and call you, months later and say, I made the same mistakes. but they don't listen. And that's communication. Yep.
Yes,
The
yes.
communication that we have with ourselves.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Are you really? Okay.
It's very, yeah, it's like a road sign coming from space. Are you on the International Space Station?
Let me make sure I'm up. Yep, I am. I'm up full speed.
Okay.
There we go.
That sounds better. Great. But yeah, you're right.
Yes, communication is so, so key. And I'm one, I like to deal with people that like to communicate. To me, it's it's team. It's team building, and communicating with other people creates synergy, and you're able to do so much when everybody is working for the same cause and communicating and sharing ideas, because let's face it, none of us know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, early on, I used to think I did. When I first started my company in the 70s and through the 80s, we were what we called AIOs, all in one. I'm kind of like the printer of today. We could do everything. We could make phone calls, we could type, we could fax, we could take the photos. We had to do it all. And over the years, you know, that was what you know, some of our feminist movement, we could do it. We didn't need anybody else. But then over the years, I learned by building teams for my clients to help them help me and help my company a lot, because I knew I had this, you know, those days we had Rolodexes. I have databases and numbers, and I know who can do what based on my client need. So
Right.
you're right. You can do team building all you want, but you've got to build your team knowing that you're going to meet the needs of your client and your own company.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Could you
So,
talk? Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Ruth.
Could you talk a little bit about team building? I mean, you alluded to it then, but team building, it's sort of a buzzword. You hear about team building, but really, how do you go about building a team?
I'm glad you asked that question because I had to answer that one this morning. I think when you're building a team, there are two kinds of teams. There's an internal team and an external team. And what I mean by that is your external team, let me start there, is your tribe. It's your support. It's not necessarily people that you do business with or that you are partnering with to help a client. It could be, but I think it's better to separate your tribe, those people who support you in all the areas that you need to help make you a better founder, a better employee, a better manager that you can rely on. So I have 8 areas of my personal life that I look for one person who can be my support team. I have a person who helps me with my nutrition, and they support me. They know what I'm doing. I report to them every week. They're kind of like your coaches, but they're basically friends and people that you can count on who are there for you. I have another person who calls me every morning to make sure that I fulfill my exercise obligation and my fitness component. And so I walk through those 8 areas of nutrition, exercise, whiteboard accountability to make sure that whatever I have on my whiteboard, she gets snapshots to know what I completed. I have someone who helps me internally with, it's a part-time person who helps me with office information and some of the admin. And then I have a person who just talks to me about keeping me and making sure my self-care routine I take care of. And my self-care routine means that I read, I listen, I do a lot online, but I make sure that mind, body, spirit are all taken care of too. And then I have a spiritual person who does my accountability for making sure that I do what I say I do every day. Okay. So that part of your team helps keep me so that I can then go out and help my clients. One of the theories I have is if you're not 100% you, how can you go out and only give 50% to the world? So on the inside, your internal team building are those people who, if you're a small business owner like I am, and I think you both are too, who do we surround ourselves with that we have hired, we pay, or I use a lot of interns, and some are paid and some are volunteer interns because they need extra credit for college and some for high school. So that part of the team is up to me. I manage those people that, it's kind of like you guide them through what you expect of them. And that team is really important in the success of strategically working with clients. So I need to make sure that they're all on board. They know about my company. They understand what my expectations are. When we work with specific clients, what I expect of them and how to offer customer service. And more importantly, that customer service is most of all the important thing. And that starts within our circle. So that even when we are working, because I have my office at home, even when we're here in the office, it's strictly office time. And when we start in the morning, I close my front door, have a note on the door that says office hours, and all phones go in a basket in my employee lounge, which happens to be my kitchen. And then they all meet in my dining room, which is actually called the conference room. So I put it all in perspective, and that's how we build a team. With my clients, I make sure that I have enough people in my Rolodex that I know who can offer what kind of information and challenges that my clients need. And then I work through them as the master and as the manager of that team.
Okay.
So a lot of pieces into that, aren't there?
Yes, there are. But thank you for clarifying that, because I don't think people normally think of building a team with an external and an internal team. So that's very, very enlightening. Thank you.
Well, you guys mentioned radical self-care. And for me, self-care, because I'm in the behavioral health field, self-care is important. There was a time 20 years ago, before I moved to Mobile, when I lived in Atlanta, that I found myself not walking my talk. Mm-hmm. It was great that I could be there and see my client's success, but my own self and my company were not where they needed to be. That was a realization of building too fast, growing too fast, too soon, too quickly, without having the support that I needed. So I backed off and said, I have to take myself on as a client. What do I need to do? Because it hurt me economically, emotionally, it was me. But I chose to do that to myself. That was called self-sabotage. And now I walk my talk. I'm very honest and transparent about what happened. I made really bad choices, poor choices, but I'm accountable for those. No one else can take responsibility for the choices that I made that were not necessarily all positive.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, because that's basically you working from the inside out, which we have to constantly do pretty much daily to make sure we're still aligned with our purpose, with our cause, with everything that's in our life, to make sure that we still on point. Because as you all know, we can go to the left with the quickness with hardly any help. But trying to stay on the right side of things takes work.
It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time, but more importantly, it takes commitment.
Yes.
When you commit, then you persevere. But the most important key to both is communication. And that's what you say to yourself in the morning. What do you do? Do you read your business plan every day? Are you accountable for it? What do you do to set yourself up for success every day? I'm going to a business academy and hired a business coach in January. And it's someone I've known for 25 years. I have a whole lot of trust and faith in her, but I'm starting on a whole new life journey. And I love the fact that I will be 70 in October, and I make no bones about it, but I want other people in my tribe, and I want to change. I want to do things differently. So I'm excited because there's so much going on. This has been my pinnacle year. My business exploded in January, not by anything I did, but by the fact that I was in the right place at the right time, and I had built up my reputation, and my clients came with references. They did not from referral. They didn't come because I went out to solicit. And I think that's a credible journey for me because that's how I started. The first 25 years I was in business, I didn't do any advertising. It was all word of mouth. And when a company, when the CEO, whatever title you give yourself, you work ethically and you work hard and you deliver and help your client, that's my success. No matter what I do, it can be really small, it can be really big. But it's when the client's happy. It's not when I get my check. It's not when I get my invoices paid. It's when the client at the end of the day says thank you. Absolutely. And they're happy with what we have done.
Yes. That is always the goal. Always the goal. Because if your clients are happy, I mean, that means you did a great job.
And they're going to refer you anyway. They're going to spread the word. If they know of somebody who needs your services, you're going to be top of mind.
And that's what it was. I look back at some of those years, and my average client was 5 years in as my client. And so I think that says a lot. Doesn't mean I worked every month for them, but it means that when they had something done, they came to me to get it done, or they needed something done. So that says a lot, I think. Longevity with clients. Now, part of that was I would do projects and not see them go to fruition. But that's what you do when you consult. You're not always there from day one to the end. Right. You have a certain goal and a certain part in the company and you're working with your clients. But at the end of the day, when they say thank you, now paying the bill is fine and getting that check is always a good part of any business. But it's when they are happy and you get that referral that, I think referrals have a long way to go. Networking's great, but those referrals are what I considered that golden, the golden buzzer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because that means that person spoke highly of you. They trust you to share with someone else. So that's definitely important.
Yeah. So this has been a banner year. My whole life has taken a major turn. I've written 3 book chapters in over 30 days. Wow. And I have begun speaking again on the digital conference circuit. So I'll be on my 3rd conference this year and next week. So it's been wonderful.
Yes. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
I will put a little pin in here because you mentioned the fact that your age and that, you're starting a whole new journey. This is going to be a new journey. And that's very encouraging for those. There's so many women who are in that same place and not really certain of where they're going. But when you have the attitude that wherever you happen to be, it can be the beginning of something new. And usually it is.
Yeah, I was reminded of that because I do talk about my age a lot. And a lot of the speakers I'm on conferences with or I'm in interviews are younger. And yet we share the same journey because I can listen to their stories. And somewhere along my journey, I had a very similar experience to theirs. And so it's been wonderful. And the fact that I don't always look, how do you describe 70? How do you describe 60 or 50? Who knows? Age is just a random number.
Yeah.
The rest is attitude and how you feel about yourself.
Exactly.
It is funny. It's like, well, you don't look that old. Well, how old do I look? And what does my age look like? It's kind of like, when I was their age, yes, I didn't think I'd get there. Well, now I'm here. So what does it look like? So I have to think about that when I in interviews. But you know what? I don't care. I am very transparent. I am 69. Every wrinkle that's here that you can or cannot see is wisdom.
Okay.
That's right. I like that.
Listen, with wisdom comes laughter, and I have a sign in my yard that says breathe, smile, and laugh.
Yeah.
And I keep that there because it's part of our mental health coalition's communications and affirmation that we use with every one of our conferences.
Okay.
Very simple. Breathe, smile, and laugh.
Yes, that's
I like that a lot. That'll take you far. That'll take you far.
It will take you really, really far.
We have to. If you can't laugh at yourself and you're unable to laugh at the choices you make, I look back. I mean, I've lived a wonderful life. I've accomplished a lot. And would I change? There are some things I would go back and change. But the plan that God had for me, and he has for me now, is why I am no longer the CEO of my company. Because God is the CEO of my company.
Yes.
I am the EVP. And I remember for years I was the CEO, I was the chief energy officer, or I was the chief enthusiasm officer, whatever. But then I realized that when your faith is there and you're reporting to someone who has set principles out for you, that he is the CEO of my life and my work is part of my life.
Yes.
I no longer look at work-life balance because we're taking work out of our life. And so we have to change the new diatribe that we're talking about and saying, what is your life path? What is your balance of life? Not daily, not total, but totally. And work is part of life. It's not separated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've done that. We've done ourselves a disservice by saying, oh, let's talk about work-life balance. Well, they're kind of interrelated because you get up at home, you drive to work, you pack your, all the facets of home are at work. The culture's different, but you still go home after work. So it's part of your day. That's part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if we said work home balance, that's different. But are you saying you don't have life at work? I always think, what is the opposite of life? That means all work is dead. So I don't know. So I just now say, this is my life balance, and I spend X number of hours in my office, or, and I just think we have to shift our perception to understand that work is part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's
and that
true.
really should be a part of our goal, is to make sure that our work is in alignment with our beliefs.
Absolutely.
It all has to flow together. And that's why so many people are unhappy in the work that they do, because they have that. Work is work and home is home. And you can't really make that dichotomy. I agree with that. You cannot make that dichotomy. And
no,
saying,
you're right. I absolutely agree. I have a unique I guess I have a unique perception about that, only because I'm an empath. And I was born an empath. I found out as a young child that I was an indigo child and an empath. So my empath abilities were what I used to help my clients achieve. Now I'm talking about it. I think this is the second time this week I've talked about it nationally, because it's not something you can say when a client says, how do you know what I need? And you sit there and you're in a meeting and you're trying to rationally tell them, especially in the 80s, well, I just kind of knew, but I did. And some of it was, you mentioned and that was the process I came up with, because I had to find a way to explain how I knew what the client needed. And some of it is very easy. We all have the same business challenges, just a different language based on industry. Are you a small business? What is your culture like? What is your organizational structure like? Whether you're home-based, wherever you are. So you take in everything that goes into building that business, and then you look at the person at the helm. What is their life plan like? What is their management style like?
Mm-hmm.
And their behavior and their personality. So as a behavioral scientist, I study human nature. How do you behave at home? How much time do you have? And then you build what you plan for your client around all these facets.
mm-hmm.
And yet I just knew, because to be honest, you can see the same pattern in the same process. The process is always the same. It just changes name by industry, by, okay, I need marketing. Oh, wait a minute, I need human resources. No, I need funding. And that's all it is. They're all words in development, but behind that, the process is the same.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna have to have you back, because this is really fun and very important information that you're sharing. So switching gears a little bit, tell us about a little bit about your chapter in Thankful and Blessed 365.
Oh, thank you for asking. This was my second book chapter, and I was so happy to be a part of Sheila Farr's vision. She was our visionary author. And it was really neat because I am so blessed and so thankful. And my chapter was about a letter to myself. For many years, I've been thinking about, what would I say to myself when I was younger? And a couple months before, I'd been asked that question when I was doing a speech about what tips would I give to my younger self or other people out there. So I thought this was the best opportunity to take time to think about who I had been and who I was growing up, and what would I say to myself now. So I have to share with you, I wrote my letter to 4 people. Now, the reason I wrote my letter to 4 people is that my Christian name at birth is Sharon. I changed my name at 12 to Sherry, spelled with a Y. At 13, I became an E-double-R-I-E. And then somewhere in between, I changed Sherry to Cher, S-H-E-R, because there were too many Sherrys in the world, and I wanted to be different. So I wrote my letter to all 4 parts of me. And I talked about memories, because for me, memories are blessings, whether they're good memories or negative memories. The memories that we have help create the person we are today. So I talked about things like baking with my grandparents. My grandmothers, on both sides, were phenomenal bakers. One baked bread, loved to bake yeast rolls, the 3-part yeast rolls, and my other grandmother loved to bake peanut butter cookies. So I grew up with 2 bakers, learning how to, and I have a picture of me at the age of 2 sitting on a chair at the table, rolling the yeast, the little rolls around. They always weren't perfect, but they still came up and popped up like grandma's rolls. And with my other grandmother, I was allowed to take the fork and on the peanut butter cookies, press the top with the fork, both ways to make the X and O board. Mm-hmm. And I remember those memories very well so that was part of it. I also talked about just facets of being with my family, thanking my family for giving me the opportunities. It was not always a positive reinforcement. It was not always a positive youth growing up, but my parents did offer me opportunities with conditions. And that was one thing that I always remembered. Unfortunately, with conditions, when you're loving your children, love should be unconditional. And mine was not. It was conditions. If I did something great, the world knew about it. If I did something bad or made a poor choice, the world still knew about it. But there was always a condition. And I hope that parents realize that you don't put conditions on your children. Each child is unique. Each person is a unique human being. Mm-hmm. And we need to love everyone for who they are, where they are.
Yes.
Right or wrong, good or bad. And so I thought about that because those blessings, and it was a blessing. I had other second parents, my parents' friends, who were there to support me. And they were that faith support. They were that, did I need to talk to somebody? And I have to laugh because some of the times they would call me later on in life and they would tell me what was going on in my household. But were afraid to tell me because they knew that it might upset. It didn't upset me. I thought half the time it was funny because I already knew our family, when you live in a small town, even of 8,000, everyone knows who you are.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to high school in another community where there were 5,000 people, where my mother went to high school. Everyone knew whose daughter you were. And they knew whose children you were. They knew where you lived. And there's just no hiding. You cannot keep secrets. And so, and I, living 1,500 miles away, I think I knew more sometimes about what happened in my own community, in my home, than people in my family did. So, but you think about that and they're blessings. And so that was what my book chapter is about. And the book is out. It's on Amazon, but each of the co-authors that gave their stories had some tremendous chapters about what they felt were, why they were thankful and blessed. So it's a book full of hope and faith and perseverance and laughter and fun and just that joy of living. And you can buy the book on Amazon, or you can get the book through each of the authors. So it's been an incredible journey, and I'm really happy that I'm part of it.
Yes, we have definitely enjoyed this conversation with you, and we look forward to getting the book uh, and also talking to the other authors in this
Indeed.
amazing anthology. So thank you, Cher, for your time. And we're gonna have to have you again. So don't we've got Ashley coming up next, so don't go nowhere. But we will bring you back on later in the show. Okay.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this time with you guys. And yes, I'd love to come back and talk more about from the business side.
Oh
Very
yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
All right.
Thank,
Excellent.
thank you. All righty, that was powerful.
Yeah, that was a very interesting conversation. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Uh, Talking about business, everyone who has a business wants their business to succeed. Just Minding My Business Media LLC is a known entity in the digital marketing arena, from podcasts to promotions, commercials, and mega exposure on social media and now TV. So 10x your business starting today with digital marketing from Just Minding My Business Media LLC on JMMB Media TV or Mindset Movers TV. Learn more, contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. JMMB Media LLC. We are in the business of helping your business to succeed.
Yes, we are.
So our next guest is Ashley Robertson, who is a compassionate leader, speaker, international best-selling author, and mental health advocate. Her passion for mental wellness advocacy is expressed as she is a wellness partner with the Mental Wellness Company, the very first mental wellness company using a holistic approach for treatment of mental health issues. She also owns her own business, Ashley Robertson LLC, and as such is the visionary author for her very first anthology titled Mind Shift Achievers. She is the author of many books, and now as to her accomplishments as contributing author in the recently released anthology, Thankful and Blessed 365. Welcome, Ashley.
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. We can't wait to hear about your company. Okay, tell us how you worked with the mindset in terms of in a holistic way.
Well, I just entered into this company and it's actually called Amare and it's for natural supplements. And I'll let you know, I struggled for 17 years trying to find something, medication, something to help with depression, anxiety. I even, was overwhelmed with life that it got so bad that I was having suicidal ideation, not wanting to live. But of course, my faith in God keeps me strong every day. And so with Amare, we have different products that can help you with mood, metabolism. We have a new product for energy and metabolism, motivation. And I have tried 17 years when I was diagnosed with a mental health condition to try medication, and I've gone to therapy and doctors, and I've always known something is not right. Something needs to be different. And so I tried this 2 months ago, and for the past 2 months I've been taking it and I have felt better than I have ever felt before.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Because I'm a holistic babe too. I try not to do Western medicine as pharmaceutical medicine as often as possible because I try to stay away from it because number one, it always breaks something else.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need another one.
Yep.
And I know that the natural way takes a little bit longer, but it actually heals.
Yes. It just doesn't take care of the symptoms. It actually goes in and takes care of the problem.
Yes.
Yes.
And see, my mother, when I was a little girl, I watched her take medication to where I said, I will never, ever take medication for a mental health condition, because it seemed as if when she got, like you just said, she got one medication and then she had a side effect and then something else, and then it caused something else. So that one medication, now she was like on 20, 30 different medications.
Ooh.
And I watched my mom every night, and she's still to this day, you know, it's so hard for her to try something natural because her body is so dependent on these medications. And so that's something that I've always been afraid of. And your body can take it for so long, and then sometimes the doctors have to adjust your medication, sometimes completely take you off of it. And then what, you know, it's like a luck. Okay, let's see if this medication will work.
Yeah.
And if it does, it does. I have tried so many different medications that I had to see a new psychiatrist at one point, and he went down the list. And I was like, tried it. Yep, tried it. And nothing ever worked for me. And I can see now, because I feel as if my body needs that natural, that's what it needs. It needs
Yes.
the ashwagandha, the things that are in these products. And this is a new company for me. This is something new. I'm still learning the products, but I've always been, 17, my daughter's 17, so I'm a mind wellness advocate for 17 years when I was diagnosed. And so I've always been passionate about overcoming mental health and helping other people realize the stigma against, you know, mental health and not be afraid. And even though that stigma with the medication, people say, oh, well, if I'm taking medication for my mind, then I'm going to be called all kinds of names, crazy, out of my mind, you know, just not nice words. And I've been called all kinds of names, but that's okay, because I know who I am in God. I know who I am. I'm a daughter of the King. And I know that it's taken me a while to get to where I am, but I've had to go through it to get to it. And that's what I've always told myself. I may be going through it, but in the end, I know the best is yet to come. So I've stayed patient, and I'm enduring to the end.
All righty then. I love your enthusiasm and your upfrontness about mental health, because one of the things at JMMB, we do a lot of interviews about mental health and people who are advocates for other people to take care of their body from the head up. It's no different than going to the doctor for a physical.
Yes. And so often people don't do that. Most people do not, or have not in the past, considered their mental health. They assumed as long as they weren't on a psych ward, in an institution, or on some type of medication, that they were all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
However, one of the things that the last year and a half has certainly showed up for a lot of people is that they have had issues that they never dealt with, and they showed up during this period of time.
Yes.
Now, mental health has become a big issue, and we need people who are on the front lines talking about it, especially if they've gone through it themselves, who have experienced, like you said, the name calling, or the fear of being called names, and just the whole stigma of quote unquote mental health.
Yes.
So it's lovely having you. Thank you so much for coming and showing up on our show in our studio. We have lots of questions about mental health and what you're doing with mental health at this point. Like you said, you have this company that you're working with. Are you doing anything else in the mental health field?
At the moment, I'm not. I'm writing books about my experiences. I'm speaking about my experiences. I do plan on launching a podcast for mind wellness, and I am studying to be a certified life coach, and I will be an empowerment mind wellness coach. So I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm just trusting the process, seeing where God's got, where He has me going on this journey. And I had to overcome my stuff first, right? In order for me to help anyone else, you got to take care of yourself. That's the biggest lesson I've learned. since being diagnosed was you cannot take care of anybody else unless you take care of yourself first.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
this particular segment, the key phrase is radical self-care. If we do
Yes.
not take care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, we're just lost in the soup. We're just lost in the soup. We're just going through the motions. And that's what a lot of people do. They go through the motions. And then at some point in life, they wake up and say, oh my goodness, what's been going on here? And there are just a lot of mental health issues and they're varied. Everybody's looks a little bit different. Depression isn't the same. It may be categorized as depression, but it's different for everyone. And that's why some people don't realize that they're depressed or that they really have PTSD or that there's something really serious going on because we're taught not to acknowledge mental health. We're taught not to look at our mental health.
Yes.
We're all so busy trying to be quote unquote normal.
Yes, and my thing is mind shifting. That's what my anthology that I'm a visionary author for is titled Mind Shift Achievers. Because that realization of, okay, something is wrong. I can reach out for help. That doesn't make me any less of a person. And now, like you said, with the pandemic, there's so many more people that are struggling with their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell everyone, I was struggling with mental health way before the pandemic, 17 years now, and I am here to advocate, to let people know it's okay to be not okay, to reach out for help. And just because people have that stigma and that hatefulness, it's because they don't understand. But
Right.
in the same sense, we have to first and foremost put ourselves first. I'm supposed to be taking a social media break right now because of the fact that I have to focus on my mental health, and I have zero makeup on. I'm in a t-shirt and I have my hair thrown up, which is not normal for me in an interview, because not only have I been dealing with my mental health this past week, about to launch Mind Shift Achievers, we've been dealing with a stomach bug. Thank goodness this is only on broadcast, right? Not in person. But in our house, we have all been sick, and mommy took care of everybody, and then they took care of me, and this is day 3 that we've all been sick. But you know what? I had to shift my mind. I was like, I can't do this interview. I can't, because I'm not prepared the way that I look. But you know what? I'm here. I shifted my mind, and I said I'm going to do the best that I can, because people need to hear my message, and I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes to let people know you're not alone. It doesn't matter if you're in makeup, if your hair is done. Mental health is for anybody. So
Yes. And it really does. And I think we put so much emphasis again on appearance. Again, it's that appearance. Everybody wants to look quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
And has said normal is you put on your makeup, you comb your hair, you dress up, and you show up. And there's some days when you can't do it. And I'm going to tell you, the last 2 days have been days that I have not been able to do it. And I may take another day tomorrow just because I need to stop. I need to
Oh
stop,
yeah. Oh
and we don't allow ourselves that luxury of stopping. We've become human doings rather than human beings, and it's taken a toll. It has really taken a toll on who we are and the way we think, the way we act, the way we interact. Our businesses have suffered because we're so busy doing. We don't know how to breathe. We don't know how to breathe. I like what Cher said just before in the previous interview. Breathe, smile, and laugh.
yes.
yes, amen.
And sometimes you don't
I
have to be
love
dressed
it.
up to do that. You don't have to be dressed up to do that. That's not a requirement.
No, it's not.
And I believe in transparency. So I'm just as real as can be and transparent, because I don't want someone to say, Ashley's always looking dolled up, and her mental health must be excellent. Well, look at me today. I'm struggling, but I'm here. I've shifted my mind, and I've said I'm not going to let it overpower me. It's also a mind shift. It's so important. I didn't realize how not easy, but how much easier life is once you learn how to shift your mind.
Yeah.
I would love to hear you talk on that subject, because that's different from a mindset. I like the idea of mind shifting.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to shift out of your mindset, and the mindset isn't always the best place to be. You just have to shift out of it, which is what you were talking about.
And you have to work at it.
Yeah.
You have to realize you need to do the mind shift, number one. And how do you get to that place of knowing that, of realizing, you know what, I need to get out of this funk and get to the next kind of attitude. You know what I'm saying? So that's really good, and we're definitely going to have you back to talk about that some more, because we love that conversation, and we could go on and on and on.
Right, but we need to know about your book. We need to know about your chapter in your book first before we let you go.
Yeah, Thankful and Blessed 365. Give us a snippet.
Yes, ma'am. So, in Thankful and Blessed 365, there again, it's all about mind shifting. My title is called Voice Noise. And so voice noise, it's those thoughts that are in your head. It's things that people have told you that you're not good enough. And then you question, who is God? And you just wonder where you get your strength from. And then you realize you get your strength from God, and you get your strength from shifting your mind. So those voices in your head that tell you you're not good enough, put them in their place and let them know that you are strong enough.
All righty now. I know that's right.
I like that. Very good. Lovely talking.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Ashley. You definitely bringing it. So we're going to bring Cher back in, because we want all of you here. This has been great. Sometimes things work out the way they're supposed to. So we just have you two ladies, and both of you are on the same wave with the conversation. And I love it. All right, so I'm going to bring Cher back in. Let me just fix our little screen so we looking a little different here.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Cher.
Yes. So tonight you ladies brought it home for mindset and changing minds and just being who you are. You know, I mean, and at the end of the day, that's all you really can do.
You're right.
Anything else is uncomfortable.
Yeah. As one person once said, do you, everybody else is taken.
Ashley's a good example of what I mentioned earlier about everyone else, all the other co-authors, and my journeys with life. Actually, my mom was an opioid addicted mom, and I understand what you went through. This is a great example. A lot of my past, actually, I shared the same past journey you did, and so it was a matter of I had to think about me and the struggles that you're going through and the challenges that you're having now. You said it yourself. You're not alone. You have to ask for help. And the mental health side is just part of our life. So if we look at healthy, are we healthy in mind, body, and spirit? Are they working together? So I share thank you for being transparent, because you and I are on the same journey, and hopefully we can catch up later on and talk about our experiences being daughters of prescriptive drug addictive parents.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's a tough road to hoe, but it's also another conversation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You had mentioned balance. And when you were talking about balance, I was just like, all right, Lord, I hear you, because I've been hearing that word for the past week or two now. Everyone's telling me it's balance, Ashley. So thank you for bringing that up. And we will definitely talk.
Yeah, I think we're all, and that was the gift of this book, ladies, is that the women who are with Thankful and Blessed 365 every story is different, but it's that sense of faith, of knowing that we're not alone, we're all standing together, that just make it so, I feel a different perspective. I guess my gratitude is getting different than it was before I wrote my chapter. In the fact that I'm looking at the smaller things in life instead of looking at, why am I thankful? What did I do today that I'm thankful for? But the small things of the past, the sunset, the tea time I shared with my grandmother, the small things that are so important to helping me stay me, but more importantly, it's part of who I am. And
Yeah.
it's fun to look back and think about the doll I had or the first time I wrote an article. It's really cool just to look at the small things that we're in gratitude for.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree. And I want to talk a little bit about Sheila, because we didn't mention her. She is the visionary for this book, and a beautiful soul indeed. I remember we've had her on our TV show, and we've interviewed Sheila a few times, and I call her Sunshine Sheila.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, she is. You're right. Absolutely. Well, look, she is as sunshiny as that beautiful bright yellow of the sunflower that she so loves.
She really is.
Yeah.
And when I met her, she just made me feel happy inside just talking to her. So
She does. It's like you were. I always tell her. I always tell her we're kindred spirits. I think we all are in another life. And yeah. And actually, talking with Sheila, she was in the same part of Northern Ohio years after me, but she was in Ohio. She spent some time in Ohio and did not know that until we started talking about, where we've been. So life brings people together in really wonderful ways.
yes,
Crazy
it
ways,
does.
but wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, it does. And I just want to thank Sheila for bringing us together, because it had not been for this anthology, I may not have met neither one of you.
I know. This has been wonderful.
Yes, it has. So definitely thank you for sharing time with us. We also thank our audience for sharing some time, and we appreciate everyone who comes on this stage, because we realize that without you, there's no us. So we thank you and we're grateful for you.
We thank you guys too for taking the time and inviting us. We really appreciate it.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you,
so much.
Ashley. Thank you both for your stories and your transparency, your honesty.
yes, we
It's
love it.
refreshing. It is
Yes.
refreshing.
Well, we thank